When you're on stage, do you become the character, or are you portraying a character?
It depends on the part. I've said numerous times before in interviews that Hoffman for me is a part that I like to feel as if I become. There's many facets to that particular personality that I can relate to very well. In a situation with Lucia that I sang last night, yeah, I would say in the final scene where there's a sense of loss, certainly for Edgardo and Lucia, a sense of separation from their love. Those are things I can relate to very well. And if I'm good on a given night, if it works for me, yeah, I don't think about the character. I think of the emotions that are there. I don't really relate to whether or not this is what the character would think. It's what I think.
Is there any character that you play that is perhaps a little too close to the real Neil Shicoff?
I think the two characters that I do by far the best are Hoffman and Werther, and both of them are dark figures and both of them are really self-destructive figures. Something that within me is I've learned to control. I think we all, to a certain extent, have a self-destructive streak. It depends how much we control it. So for me, it's a playground out there with those two roles to enjoy the masochism and the whatever else is involved with self-destruction.
After performance, how long does it take for you to shake off the character?
That's an interesting question. With those two roles, it takes me. I'm anyway exhausted the next day, physically, but emotionally with those two characters, I would say it's a full day. It's a second day later that I start to feel like me.
So you really throw yourself into the part.
Yeah, I wish not as much because I would last longer. I don't know, how long all of this will last because of the way I'm involved in the parts, and that's the only way I am. It's the way I am in most things. Great involvement and a lot of emotionality and just forging my way through life, I think.
I assume you are looking for the long career.
Oh, yeah, but that's what the process is now for me, to try to actually go on stage and give less so that I can ultimately give more.
What's it like traveling with wife?
What's it like? The life is this is a difficult life. I have a lot of friends that still very much want to make it in this profession, and I'm a person who thinks this is, if you think it's glamour, if you're in it for the glamour, boy, this is a hard life. I mean, I have 4 shows in 12 days now, which means that I sing every third day. I try very hard not to do a lot of talking in between. I do play tennis in between it as much as I can. But since I don't recover incredibly quickly, essentially those 2 days are wasted days for me, and then I'm in a performance day. So for those 12 days, I'm sort of in a Twilight film. There's no glamour, there's no parties, there's no tuxedos. It's work.
But I assume you wouldn't give it up for anything.
Well, I do this because it has something to do with me. I do it to explore something inside me, not to. And I do it because to make a living. But first and foremost, I really do it to explore something inside me, to find out why I relate well to these characters that have all this angst, and to work out some of that inside me. And also the idea of meshing together technique and emotionality.
But you'd rather be a singer than just spend all the money on analysis.
Well, I think it's a great way to be able to, if you look into it and go into yourself, this is a profession that offers a lot to learn about yourself. There's a lot of pressure in it, a lot of growing up in this profession, or you don't make it. You may make it for a real short time, but you don't last.
And you don't want to be a comet.
Well, I've already been the comet. The question is whether that's going to, turn into something longer than that. I had a very meteoric beginning to my career, and.
Is that good, or would it have been better to have...
I've had friends of mine, tenors on the international scene who are my age, and I'm one in particular, Luis Lima, and I are very good friends. And he has said to me, it would probably have been better in the long run if you had gone slower. I don't know if he's wrong. He may be right. At the time, I was very ambitious and thought it wasn't fast enough.
Too ambitious?
I think you can only be too ambitious if you alienate people. I don't think you can ever be too ambitious if you work hard.